got a lot going on here. My brother's car, his EVF, apparently he had a check engine light on the way home from work. He did mention that the fans weren't kicking on, so that's a little suspicious already. But we turned it on, we let it idle. The check engine didn't want to pop on. So then I pulled up my computer and I have this Honda cable. And then I started to look for any error codes. Nothing would pop up, no check engine. So then we just started to let the car idle and then see if it will come on. Since my brother did mention that the fans weren't kicking on that one time on his way home, then I was like, okay, maybe let's focus on this. The car has been idling for maybe 10 minutes. The fans wouldn't kick on and the temperature was at 215. If it's reaching 215 and close to 220, that's already a no-no. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double check these fans are working. So I'm gonna do a quick test. This is my brother's power probe from work. He brought it. So you could hook your positive to the battery, but the battery is inside the car. It's rerouted. So we're just gonna use the starter wire since it's linked up to the battery already. Might as well just use this guy. Put it to a ground. I got my black. I'm gonna put it on this ground. And as you can hear, my power probe's on. All right, I got my negative lead on there. And then, okay, we close the circuit and then shoot power. Fans are working, both of them. All right, so clearly the fans work. My brother and I basically went over here, and after looking online, searching where the fuse is for the coolant fan, so it's 15 with the 15 amp fuse, which is this one. So we already had pulled it out and checked it out, and it seems like it's in good condition. That way you guys can see this experience right now. But so we checked the fuse for that circuit, which was the coolant fan, and it turns out it is pretty good. So now we're gonna go ahead and find the relay. You can see the blue wire, right? So that blue wire, and then if you go down here, which is the other half of the harness for the fan, this one is what goes inside the car. And this goes to the relay. That's what the schematic says. So this connection goes to the relay. I was trying to look for it. They said it was around here, but it's not. Apparently, this harness part goes all the way here, inside. If you look over here, god damn, we had to pull out everything. Well, not everything, but my brother kind of took some things apart here to get to it. But the coolant fan is in this area. You see it right there. That's it right there. I don't know if that's actually its normal location. You guys probably would know more, but I find it odd that I couldn't find anywhere online that says that the coolant fan relay is inside the car. Never found that out. Now we're gonna pull the relay apart and test it and see if it's working. Okay, so that's weird. It looks like it does click, but then it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think this thing is working anymore. It's weird because it just clicked over, but now it's not. All right, managed to find a relay. Let's try this out. After all the back and forth, let's please let's let this work. All right. I got 195. I'm waiting. Make this rewarding. I'm gonna chug a beer. Let's turn it on. Why isn't it turning on? So we're still at it here. It's already dark. There's no more sun. But luckily I have this. We're kind of following the chart. So far, we ruled out that the relay actually is not the problem. Right now, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna check the coolant temperature sensor, because we just realized that this is very important in this circuit in order for the relay to kick on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna check the coolant temperature switch, and then hopefully we find something. Maybe it's not working, and then if it's fucked up, then that would tell us that that's why the relay is not kicking on. But my main target is the switch. Okay, so we have our little jumper wire, so technically it should turn on. Should have kicked on by now, but if you guys remember, we were trying to bypass the cooling temperature switch. But when we would bypass it, nothing would happen. The fans wouldn't kick on. So that would rule out that basically the sensor is the problem. But since nothing would happen, that's when I finally said, you know what? Let me check if there's even voltage coming to the wire. I should have done that to begin with. I should have got a test light at the fuse 15 amp fuse and check if there was even power, because even though the fuse was fine and it looked good, I didn't confirm if there was power coming from there. So I should have done that from the start. That's where I made my mistake. So if there's no 12 volts coming from that fuse to power up that whole circuit, where is it coming from? That's my confusion. So we had to trace back. It says the yellow wire is a ignition 2A. It took me a couple days to realize, what the hell do they mean, ignition 2A? So then that's when I found this guy right here, and I'm gonna show you guys right now. This diagram basically tells you the yellow wire is helping all these guys, and this yellow wire is coming from the ignition switch. And if you look on here, it says yellow wire ignition 2A. So I got the test light as usual. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find a ground. As you see, it says ground right there. I'm just gonna plug it in right here. Okay, I'm gonna ground. Now I'm gonna do key position on. Key position 2. Now you see the check engine on and off. We're gonna go over here. There should be 12 volts running to the circuit. Okay, right there. So it's reading 11 volts. So that's good technically. But watch when I disconnect it. I'm gonna leave this here if I can. Okay, you guys see that, right? Watch what happens when I disconnect it. Wire to the fuse box, disconnect it. I disconnected it. 4-pin, right? Look up here. What is that? 4-pin as well. Now let's go over here. Look at that. No power. No power. So we have an ignition switch here. Let's just say the fans should kick on. So we're gonna let the car run and hopefully the fans kick on. I guess we'll just wait. So real quick though.
I got it. It's hooked up.
So fuse number 15, which is this one, wasn't getting power, as you guys remember, but now we're getting power. And fun fact, but this ignition switch is actually feeding power to this fuse. So the yellow wire it didn't have any power with the aftermarket ignition switch we had. So we'll see what happens.
It's gonna take a while. It's gotta get up to normal.
Yeah.
But at least it starts.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna look around. The top hose is kind of hot. Okay, the thermostat open, so the fan should kick on anytime. Oh, they kicked on. They kicked on. Oh yeah, look at that. They f***ing kicked on, dude. That's it. That's right there. We figured it out. We found the problem. Oh man, Jesus, that was a headache. We had to take apart literally the whole thing just to figure out what was going on. Look, they kicked on again. You hear them? They're both running strong. Video. I know this one was a pretty long one and a pretty hard one to probably follow with. But other than that, leave a like on this video and subscribe if you want to see more cool content like this. And yeah, see you guys later. On to the next one.